Hello, it says I'm live. And I guess I am. I'm here. It's weird. It's like straight here on the frame, but at the top it's crooked. It's weird. um, Nobody viewing. Oh, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm here. Yes, Cat's Gallery. Hello. Yes. How did I do after being live for 24 hours? I did okay. I did all right. I stayed up. I stayed up later that night, and I went to bed at like midnight. So I made it another 12 hours or so. Hello, hello. I got two of y'all here. Hello. Hank sleeps more than me. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I don't sleep much. I'm not much of a sleeper. He's over here now next to me because there's something he wants that I don't have to give him right now. It's not time anyway. He just wants attention. That's what he wants. Constantly. Attention. No, it wasn't so bad. It went well. I was kind of upset that it ended the way it did with the computer just giving up on me after 24 hours. I've got to figure out what that memory leak is in Windows. It's happened ever since I installed Windows 10, even on my old computer. After about 12 hours or so, the computer starts getting this it's because the memory is filling up. It's got a memory leak somewhere. And it starts getting this audio crackle noise. And then the computer itself slows way down too over time. So I have to restart it at least two times a day in order to keep that from happening. And I'm good with computers, but I can't figure out all of that code stuff that comes with trying to figure out where a memory leak is. So I may have to end up taking it in to find out what it is. But like I said, it happened on my old computer when I installed Windows 10. And I thought maybe, when I built this new one with more modern, updated hardware, that it would work properly. And it's been doing it ever since I built this computer too. Just some kind of a memory leak in Windows that exists, and I don't know what it is. So what I'm going to have to end up doing is installing or uninstalling software until it goes away, and figuring out what it is at that point that's causing it. And the only thing I can think of that's common between the two computers is my antivirus. And so I think I may try uninstalling my Avast antivirus and finding out if that's what's causing the issue. Yeah. Hello, Dreamer. Yeah, that's exactly what a memory leak means in human terms. In computer terms, it just means that something stays resident in your RAM and never flushes itself out, but it keeps adding stuff. It keeps adding things to the RAM without flushing itself out. So eventually, all of your RAM on your computer is used up, or almost all of it, leaving very little for actively running software. So you don't have that. There's too much going in and not enough going out. And there is software you can use to detect it, but it's all technician level software that I just don't understand and don't know how to read it. the outputs and stuff like that. So it doesn't do me any good to run it unless I have somebody that knows what they're talking about with it. Yeah, I know it's best to take it to a professional, but like I said, the easiest way to find a memory leak is start uninstalling things. If nothing else, I will back up everything that is on this hard drive. I will back it up. I have an 8 terabyte hard drive, uh, external. I will back up everything on this computer to that 8 terabyte hard drive, and I will completely flush this whole hard drive. If it comes down to that. But I've got to wait to get my internet back up and running again, because right now I'm still operating off of overriding AT&T's internet block using a VPN until I can pay my internet bill, which I should be able to do maybe this week. I get paid late overnight tonight. I get paid, so maybe I'll have enough left over to actually pay my internet bill and get that fixed. No, Dreamer. No, I installed. No, I do not want Windows 11. I want nothing to do with Windows 11. I refuse to upgrade to Windows 11 because I've heard nothing but horrible things about Windows 11. If the professionals are saying to avoid Windows 11, I'm going to avoid Windows 11. No, Dreamer, this is actually the same one I worked on in my 24-hour. I just never finished it during the 24 hours, and I didn't finish it throughout the week. So I told you, it's staying on the desk until I finish it, because it's so small. There's no point in putting it away. I'm really enjoying watching this one come together. It's kind of tedious with all these little two different colors of silver drills. One of them is a little bit darker silver than the other, but you can't tell on here, like on the camera, but you can kind of see it. Like, let's see if I can. You can kind of see it a little bit, like where these like blue streaks are. There's like some of them are darker silver drills in there, like right there. They're like a darker silver, but yeah, they're in there. And there's a lot of them mixed in here around the edges of the colors, but you can't tell it on camera as well as you can in person. But they still are very, very subtle in person. It's just very, very subtle difference. And you can kind of see it like right there. You can kind of see a little line of them going straight down that way. No, Dreamer, no way I finished that one. No, you were here in my 24-hour live. Remember I said I was almost a quarter of the way done, but I wasn't going to put it back up here until this one was done. The one that I started on in the 24-hour live. There's no way I finished that other one yet. Thing is huge. It's going to take me till next year to finish that thing. At least till the end of this year to finish it. Especially taking this little break and having this one on the bench for a week. Yeah, I'm sure without them, it wouldn't. It would still look okay, but sitting back and looking at it, if you look at it from an extreme angle, you can definitely see them. Um, they're a slightest bit bluer than normal silver, just the slightest bit, and so they really work well where there's like this light blue that has little splatters that go out, because this is what this is. It was a splatter painting. If you look and see like where this pink is here, you can see little splatters of pink coming down, and where this purple is, it's like little splatters of purple coming down. So on the outer edges, it's like splatters of the color that's around the edge. And so it works really well being a little bit darker silver, that it kind of blends that in to make it look like a really light splatter coming down there. So I think without it, it would look different. That's not supposed to be there. Well, it probably was, but it fell off the pen is what happened there. But yeah, there's no way I'm done that other one. That's no. It's still wrapped. It's right down here. Like that's the front of the desk up there. It's still down there on that little roller thing. All I got to do is clear off this side of the desk over here with all my Mountain Dew bottles and Monster bottles and beer bottles and my vape and everything else over there, and just pull it back up over the desk and keep working on it. But yeah, I'm still only as far as I was the last time I went live with it on here. So about a quarter of the way done. I've got like 5 more 10 by 10 sections to be a quarter of the way done with it. After about 4 months of having something on the desk and looking at it for 4 months, you get tired of looking at it. So you just kind of want to work on something else. Wow, only 3 of y'all. It's Mother's Day, I forgot. That's probably what's going on. Or is there some kind of special live event going on somewhere that I don't know about? Nope, there's 4. But yeah, I really overestimated how long it was going to take me to do this, or underestimated, I guess, because I kind of thought, oh, it's only 40 by 40. I can do that in 24 hours if I'm sitting here 24 hours straight in diamond painting. Boy, did I prove myself wrong on that one. And then the bad part is YouTube did not even save even the first 12 hours of that last week's 24-hour stream. I misread the thing about YouTube saving it. If your live stream is 12 hours or less, it will save up to 12 hours. But if you run over that 12 hours, it won't save any of it. So there's nothing there to show for all my hard work. So next time I do a 24-hour live, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in 2 separate live streams. I'm going to go live for 12 hours, stop that one, and restart on a second one and then go the next 12 hours. And that way I'll have them both made up ahead of time, and that way all I got to do is just switch from one to the other as soon as I'm done. It takes me all of like a minute or so to swap between them. And you know what? I almost considered finishing this one up and pulling out the Hank Custom and working on it some before I pull that castle back out again. I don't know yet. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know yet. And I also have to film something for my Patreon. Still working on what am I going to do. I got to clean my other desk off over there. See, the thing is, I've got 3 batches of rocks in, but none of them are on stage 1. So I can't really film putting them on stage 1. Putting them into stage 1 because I don't have any ready to go in there. Well, I got plenty ready to go in there. Just don't have. I've got 3 tumblers, and all 3 are full of like stage 2 and 3 right now. And my desk is a mess over there, my modeling desk, so I can't really start building a model over there. Plus, building one right now means I would have to put it away when I'm not filming it, and because the cats would just ruin it in the process of me trying to build it, which always ends up happening to every model I build because I have cats that will not stay off my desk. And especially Aria lately has been the pain in the butt. Aria spends more time on the desk than Hank does, and she's not even in heat anymore. Aria follows me around like a lost puppy dog. I went in the bathroom earlier today and shut the door, and she stood outside that bathroom door meowing her little eyes out until I came back out again. I think she was afraid I was going to get lost in there or something. Never coming back out. Oh, we're slowly building up, people. There's number 5. Hello, Derek. Derek with Diamonds. That is a new name. At least on in my channel. Number 6 came in. We're getting there now, y'all. Sounds like tonight is not going to be one of those record-setting nights with attendance to my live. Y'all got enough of me last weekend with 24 hours, I guess. Hello, Tanya. I'm doing good. I'm alive. So happy Mother's Day to all of my motherly type subscribers here and viewers. Yeah, Derek, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? It's a really awesome crystal rainbow wolf head. But I haven't got the nose done yet. I just saw this one on a friend's Facebook page, and I don't know. I like colorful things. I don't like bland diamond paintings that use like a lot of the same colors and stuff. I like very colorful diamond paintings. I like lots of bright colors. And this one just kind of spoke to me. So I searched it out and I found it. And the fact that it's crystal makes it even better because it looks in person. You can't tell by the camera, but in person, when you stand back and look at this thing, since all of the colors give off the same reflection of crystal light, no one color overpowers any other as far as the amount of reflection it gives off. It looks like this was painted on a transparent, or it looks like it was used with transparent ink on a chrome surface or a shiny metal surface. And so it's got that really unique metallic look to the whole thing. Oh, the job is the job, dreamer. It's about the best way I can put it. The job is the job. It keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble. It makes me some money. Not enough money to completely live off of yet, but that's kind of sort of my own fault because I'm not doing like 12 stops a day. if I was doing like 12 stops a day, I'd probably be making somewhere in a range of about, 1,800 every half month. But as it stands right now, this past week, I really hurt myself by not being able to schedule people the way I would like to. And so I've only been doing anywhere from 4 to 7 stops a day. Minimum they want us to do a day is 8. I'm not keeping myself scheduled 3 days out like they want me to. I just don't like the fact that I've got to call all of these customers myself in my own time off of work to try to schedule them ahead of time. I don't like that I have to do that. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at keeping track of scheduling like that. I'm not a secretary. I don't have any secretarial skills whatsoever. You hand me a schedule of shit to go do, I will hop in the truck and I will go do that shit, and I will do it to the best of my ability, and you won't have a freaking complaint from any one customer about me at all. And they know that. They see that. They see I go out and I do it. My customer feedback is 100%. My paperwork is 100% for every stop. It's just the scheduling part of it. I cannot get that shit down. I'm no good at scheduling and keeping track of 5 things in my head at one time when I'm talking to a customer about what days I have open, what days I'm going to be in what towns where. And then I have to keep switching between screens on the app all the time, constantly, and then forgetting which day I was on today already. I hate it. Oh, they're going to start being mad if I don't start getting it down. If I don't get the scheduling part of it down, they're not going to be mad, but he's going to be, he's going to keep trying to talk to me about, Dave, you've been doing this long enough. You should be doing this by now. You should know how to do it by now. No, I don't know how to do it. I'm not a secretary. I'm not good with secretarial work. Sorry. We've got a whole bunch of girls that work at the office that all they do all day is sit on the computer. Well, I take that back. Okay, they don't just sit on the computer. They do collections as well. They do some scheduling when customers call in. They take care of some new sales, stuff like that. But, I think they really should have somebody that's set aside just who does nothing but scheduling for people. Like, that would probably be awesome. But I don't like having to do my own schedules. It sucks. I'm no good at it. And when I've got such a large area to cover, if the customer isn't available on the day that I'm going to be in that area, then I have to try to figure out how to rearrange the rest of my schedule for the rest of the month to fit them in somewhere along the way. And then I don't know how to figure that out, because you got to figure out drive time to them and drive time to the next place after them if you have to make a special trip to where they're at. And then you have to figure out, how can I fit in 8 stops that day with all of that drive time? And it's just a mess. No, Dreamer, I'm guessing. Hey, Robert, it's good to see you too. Dreamer, it seems to me, from what I understand, that the pest control industry in general, that's the way it works across the board for most companies, is the tech does his own scheduling. Because I've watched a couple other videos online of pest control guys, and one of them said this is a day in the life of, pest control tech. And he works for, a totally different company, not even close to here. And he does the same thing. He has the exact same printed out sheet that I have and everything. They use, it's a program, or it's an app called Pest Pack, or it's software called Pest Pack. And he gets a daily printout of all of the places he's supposed to go that day. But those places are put on there on that printout based off of what he has scheduled in the app. So I have to go into the app, call my customers, schedule them out, what days I want to go where, what towns or whatever. And then every afternoon, they print out the appointment list for the next day on paper. And if there's any paper tickets that people don't have paperless billing, if there's any paper tickets that need to go out for that part of the route that day, then they print those out as well and they put them in my box in the morning. But if I don't put it on PestPack, and then the bad part about it is PestPack itself, because the previous tech had these customers all on a specific schedule. So the tech that ran this route before was in this town this day, this town this day, this town this day, this town this day, every month. First Monday was this town. First Tuesday was this town. First Wednesday was this town. First Thursday was this town. Every month. That's the way he did it. And the customers all knew what day of the month they were. They were the third Thursday. They knew they were the third Thursday of the month. Then all they had to do was call him when they wouldn't be able to keep the appointments. So he didn't have to worry about scheduling them all. But most of them would generate still in PestPack. They'll generate out for the day that they're supposed to be on, but without a time there. But now the customers, because this route has been run by so many other people before, since his last guy ran it, he left and went to a different division. He went to the commercial division. So that was back in December last year, he left. And he hasn't run this route since then. Well, since then, it's been done. My boss has run some. The previous manager of our office has run some of it. Another tech ran some until he got hurt. So it was just getting done piece by piece, little by little here and there, trying to get it all done throughout the month. But nobody was done on their regular schedule. And so these people got all messed up on their scheduling and everything. And I don't want to go out there. And if I try to call a customer tomorrow and say, hey, is it all right if I come out and come out and do your pest control today? They're going to say, didn't you just do my pest control 2 weeks ago at the end of last month? And, now I've got to figure out, okay, these people are off of their schedule that they were on because I had to schedule them myself last month. And now it's all mixed up and messed up. And I don't know how to keep up with it and how to organize it. And I'm lost. I'm a lost. I hate to admit to the boss that I'm lost, and I've tried to admit to him that I'm lost, and he just says, well, you've been doing this long enough now. You should have this down. But I don't know how to explain to him that I am freaking lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm in over my head with that part of it. I can't do that, Dreamer. I can't just tell them that I can't fit them in until the next time I'm in their area, because there's some towns I only go to one time a month. And some of those towns like that I'm going to go to one time a month are an hour and a half away. So I have to get up in the morning, go to the office, fill my water tank in the back of my truck up with water, and then drive an hour and a half to that town just to do all the stuff that's in that town. Now, if they tell me they can't do it on that day, I can't just say, no, I can't come do it. I have to come make a special trip, because at the end of the month, I'm judged by how many skips I have. And they want us to have 0 skips at the end of the month. And so if we have skips at the end of the month, we better have a damn good reason why we had to skip that account. And so I have to try to fit them in. And that makes it even more stressful, which means I got to do the extra work of going out of my way to go do them on a day that I'm not in that town. It's all just a big mess is what it is. And I don't know how to keep track of it. I'm thinking maybe now that my insurance is kicked in with this job, I can go to a doctor and start seeing about getting on some ADHD meds. And maybe that'll help me with my scatterbrain. I don't know. If I was able to more focus on multiple tasks at once, multitasking, and that kind of thing, maybe I'd be better off. Well, that'd be great, Phyllis, if I did that. I wish I could have 1 day per month for makeups. I've got enough customers that I would be able to do 12 a day for the entire month and just barely get them all done. I'm beginning to think I'm in over my head and maybe this ain't the job for me. But at the same time, I'm not willing to go through the whole process of changing jobs again, being without pay for a little while, and letting things get behind again, because I'm just about now, for the next couple paychecks, just about now to get everything back to even again, to where I'm able to just start paying my bills as they come in and caught up. And I don't want to get behind again, because I'm tired of being behind. I'm tired of not having food to live off of for the last of the month or the last of the paycheck, you know? And I don't want to get myself in this situation again. So changing jobs means that I'd have to go through all of that again. And I'm just not ready for that. Maybe I need to make a drive up to Tennessee and buy some scratch off tickets and win another 150,000. No, Dreamer, I don't have to find my own clients. They are expecting me to sell a lot. Like, we are expected to sell, because we don't just offer, spray in their house, whatever. We offer a full line of pest control options, like fire ant service, going out once a quarter and taking care of their fire ants in their yard. Monthly mosquito service between March and October. We'll go out and spray their yard once a month for mosquitoes. We offer rodent services if they've got rodent problems. And so it's up to me to go out and do the regular monthly, or actually, we don't do monthly anymore, quarterly pest control. Go in the house, inspect the house, look for problems. If I see a problem, spray that spot. Go outside, spray the barrier around the outside. Write them up a bill for $93 and send them on my way and collect the money. But I'm there also to identify new problems and suggest different things I can sell to them, and sell them fire ant service or rodent service or mosquito service. And if I do that, then I also get the commission off, the 25% commission off the sale, but I also get the 25% commission for performing the service. And then they become another ticket that I have to do every month. So if I go to this house over here, now I have to do, not only do I have to do a spray on their house, now I've got to do their mosquito once a month. So I go to their house every 3 months to do pest control, and every 1 month to do mosquito between March and October. But I get 25% commission every time I do the service. Say it's like I go out and do a quarterly, it's a $93 service. So if I go out and do a quarterly, I get 25% of that $93. That's what my paycheck is. My paycheck is commission. And if I come home at night and want to call people to try to work on scheduling, and I come home at night, I clock out of commission and I clock into hourly, and I get paid $16 an hour to sit here at home and call people. That doesn't bother me. I don't mind that I'm doing it to get paid. I mean, I'm getting paid to do it. That's not the part that bothers me. The part that bothers me is I don't know how to call and schedule people. And then calling them after 5 p.m. in the evening, I feel like I'm bothering them at that point in time, because now they've just got home from work. They're sitting down with their families to eat dinner and to have family time. And here's good old Dave, the exterminator, on, hey, Dave, I'm calling to schedule you for pest control. Sorry to bother you in your family time. Robert, I did win that back in 2020. Back in February of 2020, Amber and I stopped at a gas station in Tennessee, bought some scratch off tickets, and I won $150,000. Of course, none of that's left now, but yeah, I could stand to have that happen again. Yeah, temporary solution. I get it. I'd be a lot smarter with it this time, because now I've just got me, and there's not a whole lot of extra things I want now like I did then. So a lot of that could go in the bank, and it would give me that little bit of a grace period to look for and find something that I could do and do well and succeed at and get paid good for. And I'd still have that cushion sitting there in the bank that I wouldn't have to worry about it. That's what I should have done the last time. Those damn car warranty salesmen don't, but that's them. I actually have a heart and I care. Yeah, I could do that, Dreamer. I really could. Hello, Sherry. No, those car warranty salesmen, I don't believe they're humans. I think they're just cloned cyborgs that have no heart, no nothing. But I did telemarketing for years, way back in the mid 90s, cold calling people like that. And you get hung up on more than you ever even speak to anybody. You answer hello and go, "Hi, my name is Dave. I'm calling on behalf of Click." Cold calling sales was the hardest thing. The worst one was when I went to college. When I put my application in for college, they helped me look around for places to find work while I was going to school. And the first place I worked while I was going to college was MCI, the long distance company, MCI. Y'all remember them? It was back in the days of landline home phones. And worked for MCI. I was one of the people that called trying to get you to switch your long distance to MCI. Oh, that job sucked. But that was the job that introduced me to the internet. And from that day forward, I was hooked on the internet. In fact, that's the reason why I don't have that job, because they caught me too much actually hanging out on the internet while I was in work and having that open in the background while I was making the calls. So that was in 96. I started college in 96 and I started MCI. Let's see, I started college December of 96 and I started at MCI in I want to say September of 96. So just before I started school. And I worked there for probably about 6 months until they fired me for being on the internet too much during work. Electronics, Dreamer. I went to school for electronics. Went to ITT Tech, rip-off school. I won't say it was a total waste of my time because I did learn electronics. The problem is no employer in the world will hire you with an ITT Tech degree because they have such a bad reputation as just churning out degrees without really making you prove that you knew what you were doing. Because of that, I just don't ever use it. I have the knowledge. But the problem is the knowledge I have is mostly in repair. And who takes their TV to go be repaired anymore? Who takes their CD player to go be repaired anymore? Or takes their stereo to go be repaired anymore? They just buy a new one. It's cheaper to actually buy it than it is to have it repaired. So that type of work just doesn't, and I never kept up with all the extra certifications and new technology and everything else throughout the years because according to most employers, I just was not employable because of where my degree came from. And I just found out a few months back that my application for student loan forgiveness due to the fact that the federal government sued ITT Tech over fraudulent student loan practices, that my application went through and that my student loans were forgiven because I had $46,000 in student loans sitting there to be paid. That I couldn't afford to pay because I wasn't working in the industry that I trained to do the way they said I would, making the big money they said I would make. Well, yeah, that is true, Phyllis. And my thing was back then it was still dial-up internet, but we had a constant feed that was always live. We had a special, line for internet at the office because it was MCI, of course, and we had special computers that were there for on break. You could go to and use the internet and stuff, but we also had it available on our workstations in our cubicles. And we were hooked up to the network that it was one of those auto dial networks that it continually dials numbers until it actually gets an answer at one, and then it kicks it to the next available salesperson. And that's the way our system worked. So, and then it would throw their information up on my screen, so I knew who I was talking to when the call answered, when the person answered, and then I started talking. But I always kept a second window open with the internet open in the background. So in between calls, when the computer was dialing numbers and waiting to send me a call, I'd be sitting there on the internet chatting with people in chat rooms, whatever. And usually I was pretty good about hiding it when the boss got up from her desk to walk around, but she eventually put me in a spot where she could see me from her desk, and I just kept trying to hide it. And eventually she busted me and they had to let me go because even though my numbers were there, I was still on the internet during work and they didn't like it. So, oh well. But that was what introduced me to the internet. That's when I kind of just fell in love with being online. And I knew that there was something there eventually for me one day to where I saw the promise of the internet. And then that was the early days when Yahoo was first kicking off. Yahoo had just kicked off then. I remember I had one of the original Yahoo usernames. No numbers, no underscores, no dashes, no nothing at the end, just Tennessee Dave. That was my first email address, TennesseeDave@yahoo.com. No numbers, no nothing. That goes to show how early on I got into it. Oh, wow. See, I don't like being monitored like that either, Phyllis. What I do like about this job here is as long as I get the work done that my paperwork says I should be doing that day, they don't care what I do. Now, if a customer starts calling and asking, I had an appointment at 10 a.m. and Dave hasn't showed up yet, where is he? They'll call me because I have a company cell phone. They'll be like, hey, your customer just called. You need to start working on calling them if you're going to be late. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I got hung up at my last, kind of thing. But otherwise, they don't watch over me like a hawk or anything. Like I'm allowed to go pretty much do what I want to all day as long as I finish the jobs that I'm supposed to finish that day. I'm supposed to take a 1 hour lunch every day, but I don't. I never clock out. The only punches on my time card every day are in for the day and out for the day. I'm supposed to be punching out every day for an hour for lunch. Nobody said anything to me about it yet, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing until then. But I don't get paid hourly anyway. So the only time I get paid hourly is if I'm doing like at home scheduling people, or we've got like something special at the office we got to do for an hour or 2 hours. Then I'm supposed to clock in hourly to do that. And I have a way I can switch that from commission to hourly. But when I'm clocked in under commission, I just stay clocked in all day. But they don't check that stuff anyway. They don't look at my time clock current to see if I'm clocked in, clocked out, whatever. As long as there's no bad reports about me and nothing bad's going on, they don't check on me for nothing. And sometimes I can go 2 or 3 days without talking to anybody in the office during my work day, except for when I show up in the morning to grab my paperwork for the day and to turn in my old paperwork from the day before and to get my water tank filled up in my truck. Otherwise, I may never even talk to anybody in the office unless, I have a question about something. That's the one thing I do like about this job. And I think I excel better at jobs where I'm left to do my own thing. And I don't have a boss watching over me all the time. If I'm left to do it my way without somebody telling me how to do it, and that's one thing I hate about these customers is they think they know better how to do my job than I do when I come to their house to spray their house. And they want to follow me around the house and make sure I did it their way. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't do it your way. I do it the way I'm trained to do it. And your way is not the way I'm trained to do it. Well, that's what the bug man always has done. Well, this bug man don't do it that way because this bug man was trained to do it this way. Sorry about your bug. Oh, yeah, I know. Some people just can't trust to work on their own. And it's mostly the younger crowd. I hate to admit it. I'm sorry if any of y'all are in that younger crowd here and hearing this. It's not generalizing you at all. But it is mostly usually that younger crowd that's doing it because, I hate to say it, we have a laziness problem in this country. We have an entitlement problem and a laziness problem. And that's all I'm going to say about that. As I know right now, you go to any fast food restaurant and you go through that drive-through, I'm going to say your order is only going to be correct about 60% of the time. And almost 90% of the time, you're going to drive up to that drive-through window and you're going to see 3 or 4 people standing around on their phones, chit-chatting about what they did last night or what they're going to do tonight after work, instead of actually working and filling the orders up. And then they're going to hand you your bag and you're going to look in it and it's wrong. And they get upset when you send it back and say, hey, you forgot my fries, or hey, you forgot, I didn't order a cheeseburger, I ordered a bacon cheeseburger. Where's the bacon? They get mad like you did something wrong. And like they actually have to do something. Oh my gosh. I pulled up to a drive-through the other day. Oh, I can't remember which one it was. I ordered something. It was last week. I ordered something and they handed it to me. Well, okay, it was Wendy's. Wendy's has the $5 biggie bag and the $6 biggie bag. Well, I ordered the $6 biggie bag with the bacon the bacon double in it, right? I pull up to the window and there's 4 girls in there with their music playing on their phone and they're twerking and dancing in the store. The lobby is not even open anymore. Like I think now they closed the lobby. They still try to use COVID as an excuse to keep the lobby closed simply because they don't want to deal with customers face to face. It's not because, you know, they're either using, oh, we're understaffed as an issue as to why they don't open the lobby anymore for walk-in orders or whatever. But it's nothing but the drive-through ever open now still. And you pull up and they're in there twerking and dancing and got the music playing really loud. And you're wondering, how are they getting anything done in here? And of course, they hand me my bag. I get it home. I open it up. And of course, instead of giving me the $6 biggie bag with the bacon double in it that I ordered, they give me the Dave single $5 biggie bag and charge me for the $6 one. By this point, I'm not ready to get back in the car and drive all the way back to Wendy's because I'm home now. It's like, you know, you can't even do that simple job right. Ms. Krista, hello, that's a new name. Welcome, welcome. I fully agree. I did retail. I said I will never, ever do retail ever again. And this was back in the late 80s, early 90s, you know. Yeah, no, I'll never do retail again. And I'll never do convenience store again. Oh, that was horrible. Working in a convenience store was the worst experience of my entire life. But it was experience, and it was experience I could carry on to somewhere else and actually use somewhere else. Believe it or not. I mean, but I would never, ever want to do it again. Oh, that was horrible. And if I worked retail, I would work in loss prevention. That seems to be the best job in retail is loss prevention. Yeah, I did fast food. Well, my first job was actually working for my uncle in he had a flea market, which was actually nothing more than a glamorized thrift store. He didn't have, well, he started out having booths that people could rent, but it turned into, he was almost like a hoarder with the amount of stuff he bought at auction in his giant trailer and filled it up. So I worked for him he was only open on Friday evenings, all day Saturday, and Sunday noon to 5. So I worked for him when I was like 14, 15, making, you know, $5 an hour. And that was, you know, great for that period of time in the 80s. And then once I was old enough to get a work permit in the state of Maryland, I ended up going to work at McDonald's for my first real job. And that sucked, sucked royally. And I left there and went to a company called Jamesway. It used to be a department store chain that was kind of like at the time, they were kind of like what Walmart was when Walmart started out. They were a small department store chain. You could find them in most shopping centers on the East Coast. And I worked for them until I graduated high school. And then just before I graduated, I went to work again at Hardee's, only because my best friend worked at Hardee's and he helped me get the job there. And him and I worked the same shift together all the time. So it worked out. Him and I could run the entire grill area, kitchen, back end by ourselves for breakfast rush. And I worked that until I joined the Navy. So yeah, I think every McDonald's, the manager is terrible. It's like nobody at Walmart really cares at all. None of them care about their job. None of them care about it's just like they're stuck in this meaningless existence of McDonald's. It's yeah, I get it. And there was a woman, I'll never forget, when I was driving truck back in 2003, 2004, used to drive across Missouri all the time. And I can't remember what town it was. Was it Columbia, Missouri? I think it was Columbia. For like miles before you get to Columbia, there were like signs, big giant billboards for this McDonald's in Columbia that had this lady there that come stop by and say hi to Miss So and So. She's a McDonald's employee now for the last 30 plus years. Like 30, celebrating her 35th year with McDonald's. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how could you do this? And I showed up there. And I actually stopped because I had to go see this lady that worked 35 years at McDonald's. And I went there and she was there. And the poor woman was taking out the garbage. They still had her out sweeping the floors and taking out the garbage. And she was, oh Lord, she had to be in her 70s or 80s. And I thought, this woman should be a manager by now. I was the only cashier to get promoted to security because I'd catch the thieves and actually doing my job. And then this manager at McDonald's, when I got hired, she looked at me and goes, no one's going anywhere because no one has a college degree. I'm like, all right, bet. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You need a college degree to be a McDonald's manager. Something's really wrong. And I'm like, I felt so bad for this lady. I mean, here she was. I mean, I was in my early 30s, and this woman was in her 70s at that point. I'm pretty sure she's, long gone by now. She's probably not working for McDonald's anymore. But I mean, 30 plus years at McDonald's, and she's still just taking out the trash and sweeping the floors. And I thought, oh no. I mean, I hope they were paying her well, but I doubt it. I mean, we're going back to the the early 2000s. So, 2001 to 2004, somewhere around that range. And minimum wage was still, $7.25, or had just become $7.25. You talking about the same woman in Missouri, Miss Krista? Oh my goodness. I figured she'd be long gone for now. Oh. I guess you just gotta love working at McDonald's. I mean, it's all I can think of. But I mean, then again, that older generation were taught that work ethic. I mean, they were taught that work ethic. You just gave 100% at anything you did, and you enjoyed it. And even if you didn't enjoy it, you did it because you had to. And I kind of respect that work ethic, but at the same time, I think by now it can be modified to a point because the world doesn't work that way anymore. But I feel like if you do still continue to do that, you really should not be at the lowest rung of, the job title. That woman should own her own McDonald's by this point. All right. There's all of one color silver done. Here's the other color silver. Yeah, there's still a lot of this color silver left. I couldn't fit it all in the Harbor Freight. Still got it all right here. At least some of the chain. At least your own franchise by that point, you know. No, instead she just got a big billboard on the side of I-70. It said, "Come see her." She still works here, like she's like a sideshow or something. It's like one of those highway oddity sideshow things, like largest ball of twine in Minnesota or something, you know. Come see Miss Henrietta. She's been at McDonald's forever. I respect somebody that does that, though. I really respect them. I don't know that I could. I don't know that I could do it. At least not in that industry. Dealing with the things that I know that fast food people deal with, I could not do it. That's possible. That's possible, Phyllis. You know, again, I just, you know, I mean, I all respect in the world to her because I know what that job entails, and there's no way I could do it for that long. There's a McDonald's here in town. It is well known as being the worst McDonald's in town. Everybody knows it's the worst McDonald's in town, and it just happens to be the closest McDonald's to me. You can almost guarantee that 99% of the time your order will not be right when you get it. Whether you eat in or dine out, either way, drive through or either way, you're not going to get it right the first time. And there's this one old lady that works in there, and she's got to be close to her 80s. She works in there on Saturdays and Sunday mornings. And she is just the sweetest old lady at the drive-through window. She's the one that hands you your food. You know, you stop at the first window and pay, and then you pull up at the one that hands you the food. She's the one that hands you the food, and she hands you your food out of there, and she says, "Now you have a great day, and I love you." And she is the sweetest old woman. You just want to go to McDonald's. You don't care if your order's right or not because she is just the sweetest old lady that works at McDonald's. And I thought, that's what I think everybody that works at McDonald's should be like. I go to McDonald's on Saturdays just to see her because she is that sweet. Like, I go there, I don't care if they got my order right or not, you know, just because of her. She's just the sweetest person ever. As a matter of fact, if I ever bought that franchise, I would probably fire everybody but her and rehire an entire new crew around her. You know, Phyllis, I have no clue. Everybody in town wonders that. Everybody in town wonders how that McDonald's is still operational. It's because of the name. It's McDonald's. I think that's the only thing anybody can come up with is that it's McDonald's, so everybody wants to go to McDonald's. But it's it's horrible. It's a horrible McDonald's, and like I said, they never ever get your order right ever. You need to check your bag before you pull away from that window because it's going to be wrong. 90% of the time, that's what I do. I pull out, I pull away from the window, I pull up, I park in a spot, I check my bag, I walk back inside, get the order right, come back out, get in the car, and leave. It's just a regular occurrence at this McDonald's. And it's because the people working there do not care. They frankly do not care. During during COVID, during lockdowns and stuff, when we first moved here, if you went to that McDonald's, you could only go through the drive-through because they didn't have the lobby open at all. But if you went through the drive-through, you may be sitting there at the window to collect your food a little longer than you should have because they were collecting the DoorDash orders too. There was a whole bunch of DoorDash drivers just parked in the parking lot over across from where the cars drive through to go through the drive-through. They were across from there. You'd be up there, and a woman would come up with your bag. You're ready to take the bag and everything else. She sticks it out the window. You're getting ready to grab it. She goes, "No, that's not yours." And she yells across to one of the DoorDash drivers to come get his order. It was like every other store has like let you come in if you're a DoorDash driver, let you come in and grab it off of a shelf. Not this one. Nope. They did it right through the drive-through, the same one that was serving people in the drive-through. They didn't make them go through the drive-through. They just made them go sit and wait in the lot and yelled it out to them. Oh, I do too, Miss Krista. I really do. Your generation and below, I'm guessing you're a millennial. If you are, that's correct. That is very correct. You're also from the gimme generation. You turned 30 in October. Oh, okay, okay. Yep, you're late millennial. Um, yeah, you're correct. It's also the gimme generation, the generation that feels like they're entitled to everything. I'm not saying that's true for the entire generation. Okay, I because I know outliers. I know plenty of outliers to that situation, but you know, again, those are outliers. They're not, unfortunately. And Gen Z are getting to be worse. But see, the problem is it's my generation to blame. You know, I'm Gen X, and we raised those millennials, and I think it was because as Gen Xers, we were brought up as latchkey kids. Parents worked. We came home from school. We let ourselves in the house. We were responsible to do our own homework before our parents got home. We were there to basically take care of ourselves. On Saturdays, our parents worked, and we just ran the streets on our bikes all day. We might have to call and check in every couple hours or so, but or come home and check in every couple hours or so. But we raised ourselves, and a lot of Gen Xers didn't feel that that was proper parenting, so they said we're not going to be like that with our kids, and they coddled the next generation to the point where the next generation feels like they're owed everything. And also, a lot of Gen Xers in mine were brought up by boomers, and they were taught that, you don't always win. Sometimes you lose. And a lot of them felt, well, that's not fair. Somebody gets to win and lose. And they started coming up with the participation trophy ideas. Well, let's give everyone a trophy because everyone deserves a trophy for trying. But growing up in Gen X, I played Little League. And I remember the sting of sitting at the Little League banquet every year when our team didn't win the championship and didn't get the trophy. I remember that sting of that. But that all that made me want to do was go out next year and do so much better because I didn't want to feel that again next year. I mean, that's the reason why you had winners and losers, was to teach you that, you didn't do good enough this time. You failed at your task. If you don't want to feel this way, you do better next time so that you don't feel this way the next time. Exactly, Phyllis. I have been watching this past week. I've been watching a lot of um, Hotel Hell and Kitchen Nightmares, the Gordon Ramsay shows, and it's always the person in charge was always the one who was at fault for the reason why the place was horrible. It was always the way the manager ran it or the way the owners ran it and the decisions they made and the way they treated their staff and everything else that caused the place to be in decline is the reason why he was there. Your bird fell. Okay, I've got a question because I don't have birds. What does a bird do when it falls asleep, and how do you know it's asleep? Does it like fall over? Oh yeah, Chick-fil-A is awesome. That's the main reason I like going there is because they're so fast. Oh, okay. That's odd that their legs lock like that when they fall asleep, so that they don't fall over. That's neat. In order for us to fall asleep, we have to be completely relaxed. It's one time in our life that we're actually totally relaxed is when we're asleep. And even then, for some people, we're not. But that's weird. That's cool. There's a place here in town that Phyllis, you're talking about Chick-fil-A and how good they are. There's a place here in town. It's Tuscaloosa is ate up. I think the South in general is ate up with chicken fingers. And Lord, there's so many different chicken finger places. Every other corner has got a chicken finger joint. Um, there's a place here in town called Fusakli's, and that's what they do is chicken fingers. They hand cut and hand bread their own chicken fingers every day. They make their own sauces fresh every day right there in the store, and they're one of the cheapest places to go eat at all if you're going through drive-through. But when you go to the drive-through, they've always got a line out of the parking lot. But you get through that line so fast because they have got people outside with tablets, and they're going down the line and they're ordering your food for you while you're right there in line, so that when you pull up to the window, they've got it ready already. All you got to do is give them your name, and they hand you your food. And you're so fast in and out of there. And I love going there. I thought horses laid down. I didn't know that. I thought the old thing about horses sleeping standing up was a myth. I thought they laid down. Yeah, Phyllis, I can imagine now. I remember what it was like. I worked in a call center in North Dakota when I first moved up there, and it was most of them were millennials that worked in there. Maybe a few older Gen Z, but mostly like millennials and younger millennials. I think the average age of the place. I think I brought the average age up by like one year, because I was like the only person in there that was over 40, and everybody else in there was like 22, 23, and that was the biggest issue they had was these people were sitting on their phones while they were doing a call center job, and they kept threatening us and threatening us and threatening us, and finally the boss brought in one of those like uh, back of the door shoe holder things with the little pockets on it, and each pocket had a name, and you had to put your phone in there when you came to work, and everybody threw a fit about it. Like, I mean, they threw a fit about having to put their phone in that thing, and they can't touch it until break. Oh my Lord, I never heard such a mess in my life. I'm like, what's the big deal, y'all? Come in, do your job. You get your phone at break. Yeah, I couldn't imagine standing up and sleeping but I've done it. I have done it. I've stood up and fell asleep before. I fall asleep sitting here in my chair all the time. In fact, just before I went live, I finished watching the race this afternoon, and I was sitting here diamond painting and figured, okay, I'll finish this section up before I go live because the race didn't end until like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I figured, oh, I got enough time. I'll finish up some of this section here. Maybe I'll start a new one on live. And I fell asleep sitting here in the chair until I thought I'd like slept way too long. And I woke up. I was like, oh no, I got to go live. And looked at the clock. And it was like 7:05. I was like, okay, cool. Oh yeah, someone would be. They always do. Yeah. You can't make me do that. I'm your employer. I can make you do whatever I want, as long as it's legal. As long as it's legal and does not violate labor laws, I can do whatever I want. I can tell you to do whatever. That's why I always think I would love to own a company, because I guarantee my company would be one of the most successful in the world, because I would hire only people that I knew would have a good work ethic. And I would know things would get done. And I can talk to people and see when they're, when they're making stuff up or whatever. I can tell. If I was doing interviews, I could tell. I could tell who's putting me on and who's not. You know what? I want to finish that section up over there so it looks completed there. No complaining about being at work. Now, I don't know. That going a little far because, you know, there's days that I don't want to be at work. And I'm going to complain about it. I mean, I'm not going to bring everybody down with it and constantly tell it to everybody I see, but, you know, I'm going to, man, I really wish I didn't have to be here today. You know, that's a little much, but yeah, I get it. That's a great idea. And how many people read that and said, this bullshit? Yep. And I would be standing there. I would announce that it was going to happen. And then I would stand off to the side somewhere where people wouldn't think I could hear them, but I could. And I'd be listening to their responses. And all the ones that said, this is bullshit, I'd find a reason to fire them and find somebody else to take their place. That's just me. That's how you ensure you get a workforce that's going to work for you. You know what? I have 2 videos on my TikTok, and I've got like a couple hundred followers from 2 videos, and 90% of them are like OnlyFans scam girls trying to get me to subscribe to their OnlyFans. And every single one of them sends you a DM too. Hi, how are you today? Like, I don't know you. And they go to their page and they've got like no videos whatsoever. Yeah, see, now, Phyllis, we were allowed to do that. Like when I worked in the call center, one, we were allowed to keep snacks in our drawer, which was awesome. We couldn't eat while we were on the phones. Like when we were logged into the system, we weren't allowed to eat then because, you know, you could hear somebody crunching pretzels and it wouldn't sound good. But we were allowed to color. I mean, we were allowed to have a coloring book or whatever. I don't know about the cross stitching part because there was some typing that had to be done, and you know, it kind of hinders the typing thing. But we were allowed to color and stuff, and that was all right. We had people bringing in stuff like making, like, brought in scissors and glue and craft paper, and we're making cards and everything else while they were sitting at their desks, which wasn't a bad deal. I mean, that's where I kind of got into coloring for a while, and I had some coloring books that I carried. That Trump coloring book I've got, um, that's where I did all the coloring on it, was when I was sitting there in the call center. I just kept it in my drawer at work and pulled it out when I got there in the morning. A manager was on her. Yeah, great example to set there. I'm sorry, I'm that employee. If I had to sign this paper and I seen a manager watching videos on the phone, I would pull mine out, prop it up somewhere, start recording, and I'd turn that into the boss and say, here you go. This is what's going on when you're not around. I am just that person. I'm sorry, I'm a snitch. Because I don't want to be the one carrying the company and having to do all the work while everybody else is goofing off. Because I guarantee the first time I try to goof off, I'm the one that gets busted for it. And I've had that happen where I've worked my butt off and finally got tired of everybody else not doing it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do it too. I'm going to do what they're doing. And as soon as I start doing what I'm doing, they notice. And I'm the one that gets in trouble for going against the rules. Do you have like cameras in there that they can look at? That's where I would go to the boss and say, hey, such and such time, such and such day, go look at the camera and look what your manager was doing. See, I had a boss that would do that. Like, I worked in a convenience store in Maryland, busy beach route. Everybody has to go by our place to go to the beach, and ours was the first easy place to get into after coming off the Bay Bridge from the Western Shore over Baltimore, D.C. and stuff. So all those people that go to the beach every weekend from Baltimore and D.C. would have to go right by our convenience store. And it was the first place, a really easy place to get off the highway and stop and get something to eat, something to drink, use the bathroom, whatever. And I worked in there normally on, Friday evenings and Saturday during the day when the head traffic was the heaviest. And it always stayed busy, like always. Well, I kind of got a laugh out of it with everybody was I put a little styrofoam cup up on the register that says, you know, Dave's tip jar. And the boss was there the first time I did it. She was in the store and she goes, that's not a good idea, Dave. You shouldn't do that. She goes, because we have the jars over there for like the Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital there that people can put their change into. And she goes, you're stealing from them. And I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. So, Dave being Dave, she left for the night and I put my little tip cup back out on the register. She called the store. She goes, Dave, take that cup down now. If you know your manager's watching the cameras, you're more apt to do what the manager wants you to do. And people need to know that the manager is still watching the cameras from home. And if they have cameras they can manage from home, yes, that's the way to do it. Because if they know it, then they're on their P's and Q's all the time. Hi, Deborah. It's okay. Better late than never. Y'all, Deborah is sporting one of my t-shirts from my merch shop. I'm thrilled, and I saw pictures of it, and I am actually thrilled with how the printing turned out on them. When I get paid late overnight tonight into tomorrow I'm probably going to hop on there and I'm probably going to order a couple of samples because they allow me to order some samples at a lower cost. I won't make any profit off of those sales, but they're going to be samples that I can order and I can check out myself and hold them in my hand and look at them, show them off on camera and everything. And I'm really can't wait to see what they look like in person. But Deborah was my first merch sale. She bought one of my I Heart DP t-shirts. I've sold a couple more since then. I've sold one T-shirt, one sticker, and one 32-ounce stainless steel water bottle. Yes, Phyllis, exactly. And the same thing goes with my houses I spray. I have a lot of houses that I do that I have a key for their house. Like I can show up there anytime and do their house. I don't have to schedule them ahead of time or anything. Some of them would like to know that I'm coming. Like they'll say, just call ahead on your way to let us know you're going to be there, that you're coming in so that we're not surprised that you were there when we get home or whatever. But I have a key to their house and I let myself in, spray their house, let myself out, spray the outside, let myself in to put the stuff on the table for them and leave. And I always, always, always treat that house as if there's a camera in every room watching me every day. I do not want anybody to say that I did anything in their house I wasn't supposed to do, ever. And yeah, I know where you're coming from on that. Because we did have a guy that was on my route. He still works for the company. How he still works for the company, I don't know. But he was a guy that ran the route that I'm on now. She's not my customer anymore because they have it set up that only the manager can come do her house. Because the tech went in her house. He had a key, went in her house, got in her refrigerator, took the canned Cool Whip out of the fridge, sprayed some in his mouth, and put the lid back on and put it back in the fridge again. And she had cameras in her house and busted him doing it. And he tried to use the excuse when he got caught, when the managers talked to him. He said, well, her and I dated for a while. Her and I were dating and this, that, and the other. Nobody knows if it was the truth or not. Yeah, it was a mess. And so he still works for the company. I don't know how they didn't fire him. I would have. But because of that, I treat every single house I do, even if I'm doing just the outside only, I still treat it as if they've got a camera and they're watching me at every moment. Oh, awesome. Deborah's so cool. I can't wait to get mine. I'm going to wear mine too. I'm going to wear mine a lot. Yeah, very unbelievable he was not fired. I was time to separate your kids, huh? All right, Phyllis. We'll see you later. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I'm not sure how he got away with not being fired. I guess he must have been that good of a tech otherwise. But that just surprised me when my boss told me that he told me that when I was out riding with him in my training. Right, it was one of my mentor days when I was out on training, and he said, we got to go do this house this morning. He says, it's on your route, but you will not be doing this house. Only I will. And I was like, oh, okay. He says, and he told me the story. He says, and the guy still works here. I'm like, oh my Lord. I almost wanted to know who it was, but I'm not asking, Maybe they used the fact that they were dating. I think at the time, I think they actually were dating, but they were arguing or something at the time. But he kind of felt like he could make himself at home at her house. Oh, awesome, Deborah. I didn't even think about that. When I was coming up with it, there was like 10 or 12 different colors you could use, but you could only choose 5 of them. And So I basically, it shows you an example of kind of what it'll look like when you're choosing the colors on the site so that you can, get an idea of what it's going to look like. And I tried to choose the 5 colors that I knew would, one, appeal to my viewership as well as would display the logos and everything right. Like white, it just didn't look good on white. For whatever reason, even though it had the outlining around the colors, like the logo on the front did not look good on white. So it had to have a background color, but some of those background colors it just didn't look good on. And so it was just like, you know what? I chose the 5 colors that I figured would be most appealing for my viewer base and that my logo looked best on. No, unfortunately, Deborah, no. I live and breathe crimson and white and purple and black. Which I am so happy. I'm so happy the Ravens finally got the deal done with Lamar, and now he is the highest paid football player in the U.S. Now maybe he won't sit out the second half of every damn season because he wants money. And we got him some good receivers. So he doesn't have to carry the team on his own feet like he has been, which I think is what makes him such a good quarterback because he is always mobile. I think he will, Deborah. I mean, the kid won MVP, league MVP in his rookie year. And he only won 1 playoff game that year. But he won league MVP that year in his rookie season. And he's that good. Well, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman in 2019, I think. And then the Ravens picked him up in the draft, drafted him really low, too. It was really odd. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, but he drafted really low. He hit the Ravens as a backup quarterback, but Joe Flacco wasn't worth nothing, ended up getting hurt. And they put him in, and he proved himself. And in 2020, he became the league MVP. I mean, how in the world the NFL MVP in your rookie season? That's a feat. And he kind of did deserve the money that he was asking for. The problem is Cleveland made a bonehead move and paid Deshaun Jackson all that money. And they basically set the market for quarterbacks who are up for re-signing. And he thought that he was going to get Deshaun Jackson money. And the Ravens said, no, we're not paying you Deshaun Jackson money. We're not guaranteeing you this much money. And he wanted it fully guaranteed. And Ravens said, no, we're not going to do that. We'll offer you this. And he turned it down. Well, then the last 2 seasons, the season before this past one, he just sat out injured the second half of the season with an injured ankle, which, that was a legit injury. But this past season, he sat out almost the whole second half of the season with no problem. And then when they finally did go to the playoff games, and they made it to the playoffs, he wasn't even with the team on the field. He was sitting at home in the living room tweeting, basically saying if the Ravens would have paid me, I'd be there right now. But they finally closed the deal, and they're giving him $250 million guaranteed over the next 5 years. Yeah, he better. I paid $400 for his jersey back in 2020. But at least now I know he's locked into being a Raven for the next 5 years, so I don't have to worry about it. It's just my luck because the last player jersey I bought was a Ravens player jersey. It was Ray Rice, our running back. He was amazing. And I loved watching him play. I bought his jersey. I paid, I don't know, I think $150 for it. And right after I received the jersey, he beat up his girlfriend in that hotel. and got booted off the team and out of the NFL. And I'm like, it doesn't pay to buy a player jersey anymore. But this year, finally, I have a reason to wear my Lamar Jackson jersey all season. I've only worn it like 3 or 4. That much for it. I'm afraid to wear it because I'm afraid I messed up. Because it's not your run-of-the-mill jersey that you can buy on NFL.com. It's the one on NFL.com that is never in stock because it's the Nike Elite that is the exact same one that's issued to the players. Yeah, it's ridiculous priced. Even on the website, if you can buy it on NFL.com, if it's available there, it's like $300. I bought it on eBay for $400 because it was never available on the website. It was always sold out. So ended up going to eBay for it. But I also bought my Navy cruise book from the Westpac cruise I was on for $400 on eBay as well. So I wanted to get that cruise book. I'd had it in my cart forever, like 2.5, 3 years. It had sat in my cart on eBay. And it was the only copy I could find anywhere of that cruise book other than a PDF copy you could find on a website. I could not find an actual hardbound, bought at the time of the cruise book from that particular cruise that I was on. And I found it on eBay and I put it in my cart for like 2 or 3 years. And then when I won that money in 2020, that was one of the first things I bought for myself was that cruise book for $400. Because when I was in the Navy and I was on the cruise, I had ordered my cruise book. I had my picture taken. And at the time I took the picture, I also ordered the cruise book. The only difference between this one and the one I ordered was the one I ordered on board the ship was it had my name put on the front, stamped on the front of it in gold or silver or whatever. I ordered it specifically with that. And then I was transferred out and I ended up coming out of the Navy right near the end of that cruise. And they flew me back to San Diego to get me processed out. And I never received the cruise book. And so I always hated the fact that I did not have that one memento from that one Westpac cruise that I went on. And so when I finally found it, I was like, I have to have this. Yeah, I've made it so far. I've only got 4 more 10 by 10 sections to do once I finish this. So I'm loving the way this thing looks. I mean, you're seeing it upside down on your screen. But if I turn this thing around, that's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I paid $250 for it at the time. I wrote a check for $250 and that check cleared. I remember that check clearing. And it's just the fact that I had transferred out of that squadron and transferred back to the processing department, I guess they call it, to be processed out to go home. They just never kept up and sent it to me. So I still have it. Let me go see. Oh, my foot fell asleep. Here it is. Y'all are gonna get to see me back in the day. There we are. And I was that was the Marine Detachment. VF 51 was our sister squadron. VF 111, this was my squadron. And I was right there. That's me. I paid $400 for this book. Still got the I still got the eBay receipt from it. But yep, that's all the cool places we went to. The welcome home party that I didn't go to because I was already off the ship by then. Armed Forces Day, I was already off the ship on that at that time. The homecoming, I was off the ship for, so I didn't get to see I didn't get to do the homecoming. But that's kind of what it looked like when we left, just like that. It looked almost exactly the same when we left and we came back. All those people there with signs and everything else. And there was our cruise that we did. We left San Diego. We left San Diego and we went across this way. We stopped in Hong Kong, was our first stop. Then we went to Singapore. And then we went across and we were off the coast of Somalia for Operation Restore Hope. And then we came up into the Persian Gulf for Operation Southern Watch. We flew a strike on 13 January of 93. We stopped off in Jebel Ali, got stranded there for an extra 7 days because of a sandstorm. And we still patrolled in the Gulf. And I got flown out while we were patrolling the Gulf. But then the ship continued on and went back. It went back down to Singapore again. It went back to Hong Kong again. And then went to Hawaii, picked up the Tigers, which were family members that, that would fly to Hawaii and you could pick them up and they would ride to San Diego back with you on the ship. Hong Kong was my favorite stop. I absolutely loved Hong Kong. Beautiful city. But this was back before we turned it back over to the Chinese in 2000. It was still British owned at that time. Yeah, that is a great memento to have. And that's why I absolutely had to have it. To just remember that experience from. It was an amazing experience. And we flew those strikes in 93, in January of 93, that were the reason why Saddam did not have an air force when we went back in 2001 for the second Gulf War. Our airstrikes in January of 93 killed off their air force. We decimated their air force with our strikes that we did. In fact, I even got to sign a couple of the bombs that got loaded up and sent off. they had the bombs all brought up onto the hangar deck, and you walked right by them every day to go back and forth to your regular duty stations. And we knew when the bombs came up out of the weapons hold and they came up onto the hangar deck, we knew that there was going to be strikes. We didn't know exactly when. They never told the crew exactly when it was going to be, for good reason. And the only ones that knew were the only ones that knew in advance were the ones that were having to load the ordnance on the planes and fuel the planes and all of that. And of course, the squadron leaders themselves knew and planned it out. But otherwise, nobody on the crew knew it. But since the bombs were up there, everybody was grabbing a piece of chalk and just writing stuff on the bombs. And so I signed a couple of them, and got up one morning, headed to my duty station, and I was right below the flight deck, like the next deck right below the flight deck. And next thing you know, all you heard was one plane right after the other, whoosh, 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 just being shot off the deck. And you're like, oh, that's not normal. So you walked up to the flight deck and the catwalk, and sure enough, they were launching everything we had off of that ship at one time. And all of them were loaded down with weaponry. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Get that one out of there, because I keep trying to pick it up. Oh, that one goes over there too. In the waters of the Persian Gulf, and most people don't know this, but the waters of the Persian Gulf are so still, they're like a mirror. They're just perfectly still. And it was one of the most amazing things I think I've ever seen sights wise. Just you're out in the middle of this giant, you're floating on this giant mirror, as all the best way I can put it. With thousands of seagulls flying around behind the ship. We used to test the Sea-Whiz system, which is basically a 30 millimeter Gatling gun that looked like R2-D2. It's got a radar built in so that it can track incoming missiles and shoot them out of the sky. And this thing goes off, it sounds like the world's loudest chainsaw. It's kind of what it sounds like. It's the only thing I've ever heard that will echo over the open sea. But we used to use those a lot we used to practice with them, or they would use, certify them or target them or sight them in, whatever it is they did with them. But when they did, they would use the flock of seagulls that was flying behind the ship. Yeah, it is very interesting from a scientific point of view. It really was interesting to think that it's one body of water that's completely surrounded by land, except for this one little tiny entrance, the Suez Canal, that takes you in there. And the water is just flat as glass. And once you get out in the open ocean, we used to go, because I smoked back then, you used to have to go out on this sponson, which is basically a balcony off the side of the ship. Well, the same sponson where they used to go throw trash overboard was the smoking sponson as well. And you could go out there and go smoke on sponson 6, and you were literally just, 10, 15 feet above the water. And the ocean water is actually blue. Like when the ship turns it up and it runs up along the side of the ship, and then you got a little bit of the wake you could see there beside the sponson, because we were back near the back of the ship. It is actually blue. The water was blue. It was really neat to see. Of course, growing up in Maryland on the Eastern Shore, we had a lot of ponds and lakes and Chesapeake Bay, but all of that water is kind of a murky brownish color. I was never used to seeing actual clear blue water. It's only dark looking if it's, if you're looking down into it, it's dark looking, but if you like stir it up any, you can see the blue in it. And it's the prettiest blue. But it's only that dark because it's so deep out across the Pacific, in the Atlantic, of course. The only problem I have with this diamond painting, I like color blocking, but this is a lot of color blocking, especially with just this silver color. I suppose I could go grab a 4-placer and start multi-placing, which I think I might do. Because everything on this one kind of falls right into place. That's what I do like, is these drills are the perfect size for the grid compared to some of the others I've worked on. That Castle diamond painting, the drills, some of them are actually a little smaller. They're kind of all odd sizes. Some are the same size as the grid, some are smaller. But in the end, it all works out, so they all end up lining up in a way. But these drills are all pretty much manufactured to the same size. And they're all just the perfect size for the grid. That's a bad drill anyway. Look at that. Now it's going faster. Hello, Ashley. It's okay. You're fine. Thank you for coming. Glad you didn't miss it completely. But I understand it's Mother's Day. You had things to do. And you had little pups to take care of. We've just been filling the time talking about random things like normal, Ashley. That's all. We started out with work ethic in the workplace today. Followed that up with football a little bit. And then went to things I bought expensive on eBay at one time. You're pulling drills. Oh, you're frogging a diamond painting. Great. Sounds like fun. I know that pain. I did that not too long ago. A few months ago, actually. You're probably not doing it to the extreme that I had to do it, though. That was nuts. I hope I never have to do that again. Oh, it won't pick up all 5 at once. I guess I probably could stand to change the wax in it at that point. Come on. It's always the one on the end that won't pick up. And then when you do get it, pick that one up, it fails to pick up. It drops 2 or 3 of the other ones off. That's why I kind of don't like or multi-placing, because the multi-placer hardly ever picks up the amount that it's supposed to. It always misses the one on the end, and then when you put it back down to pick it up, it drops the other ones off. And you got to reach down and try to pick those up again. But if you put too much wax in the pen, then it leaves wax everywhere. There we go. What are you pulling drills off of anyway? Just put the wrong color down on the wrong symbol? 2 sections left. First time frogging on this one. I still think I ought to make a, I mean, well, I think I said it in Zoom the other night. If you ain't frogging, you ain't stitching. I ought to make a t-shirt that says that. Same thing goes with diamond painting. Because we all have had to do it. Oh no. And of course, in the process, you're going to pull up a bunch of the ones that were the right one too. So then you got to go back and replace all those as well. Because you're not exactly sure where you put all of the wrong ones at. Quarter of a Harbor Freight. Oh my Lord, that's a lot of drills. Well, you saw the bag that I had, didn't you? Of all of the ones that I had to pull off of the castle that I had already finished before I realized I had popping drills, and when I had to have them all replaced. That bag there was all of the drills that I had already completed on that castle diamond painting before I had to pull every one of them off and restart. Yeah, I just sat there with like a 12 place straightener and just scraped them. They were popping all over the living room. I had drills flying through the air, popping off the canvas. It was raining drills in here for a while. Not at $300 for the DP Dreamer. Nope. And because Haley was so good and said she would replace the drills for me because she really wanted to make it right, there was no way in the world that I was going to trash that. Not after everything I had been through with that canvas. I wasn't going to trash it. Paid $300 for it. Had to have the entire kit replaced right after I got it because it was printed wrong. And then did all that work on it. Realized I had popping drills, and she replaced all the drills. I was like, you know what? I'm bound and determined I'm going to finish this damn thing. Yeah, it was from Royal back in the day. Back in 2020, I paid $300 for it. I mean, it's huge. It's 165 by 100, and it's got 100 colors. Yeah, it's a $300 diamond painting. That's the castle. Well, it's worth it to me because it's going to be a gift for my granddaughter. And when I see that face light up, when I hand her that big thing that's bigger than she is, I mean, as a grown adult, she probably will not be bigger than that diamond painting. I'm barely the same size as that diamond painting. That thing is 5.5 feet tall by 3 feet wide. It's only 2 inches shorter than I am. So to see her little face light up at 9 years old, 10 years old when I hand that to her, it's worth every penny, that $300. All right, I finished the section. Hey, look at there. That means I'm on the top row. Oh, it didn't slice through it properly. It did that time. Oh, there's not a lot of color in that section either. That is all, other than a few little branches of this Y, which is this yellow, and a little bit of the, I think it's the other yellow or orange going out of there. Other than that, it's all silver. It's all that same color silver. Oh, and there's a bunch of that yellow right there in that corner. And a little bit of that orange right there. Hello, Bev T. Hello, hello. You came just in time to see me uncover a new section. I'm wondering, should I just go ahead and do this color while I've got it out? Good question. Oh, Terry, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. Hello, Terry. I'm sorry. I did not see you at all. You kind of blended in there when we were talking about everybody else. You are not chopped liver. I just happened to miss you, I guess. You've just finished kitting up a DAC mystery. Ooh, that's what Pink Poodle's working on right now, Bev T. Ashley's working on her DAC mystery. She's over there frogging. Trying to decide, should I just go ahead and continue with this silver since there's so much of it in this section and I've already got it out, or should I start working in some color and then just come in and fill in the silver? Good question. You know what? I think I'm going to clean out my four placer here, put some fresh wax in it. Yeah, that wax is old as dirt in there. That's why it wasn't picking anything up. Y'all are going to love this. I got some of Beth's mud there. I kind of had to take it out and redo it because it was so full of holes. It was ridiculous. But I hate ruining the little diamond stamp she had on the top. So I actually took it out of the container, cut the diamond stamp off the top of it, stuck it to inside the lid of the container. So now I've got fresh wax that I can. Great. You know what? I think I'm going to put, yep. I'm going to put that 4-placer in the other end of that pen. Put the 2-placer in that one for now. There we go. Because I like this pen better. All right. I'm going to start multi-placing and checkerboarding at the same time. If I don't get my hand caught on it. This is how you color block quickly. Yeah, I could do that. Because that's really getting on my nerves. It's more annoying than anything. It's not really hurting anything. It's just more annoying. And I do have a little bit of hair right there on the side of my hand that kind of gets yanked off when I do that. And then I've got a little bit of wax that just came off the pen. Good thing the wax doesn't stick to the sticky stuff. That was a good idea, Deborah. I never wait you develop a bad habit and it just never goes away. And all righty, Ashley. This is the way I like doing things when I'm color blocking large areas. And I can just straighten them as I go. I'm going to flip that around and pick up number 4 right there. There we go. I would never, ever do this with rounds. In fact, I hardly ever multi-place at all anymore because normally the ones I'm working on have so much confetti, I don't have any large areas like this to multi-place in. So this is kind of a rare treat for me. Back over here. And snap. The snap is so much better too. Yeah. Now I can go back with the single placer and hit the little ones that I missed. Little single spots there. Hello, Nana. Two more there. Uh-oh. That one goes there. Straighten, straighten. And 3 shot there. There. And that's how you take care of a good color blocking spot. Now, line some more up in here. And I'll start on the left. Ooh, that one didn't lay down right. Nana, no. Actually, what happened was I misread. I thought that it would save the first 12 hours. No, what happens is your live has to be 12 hours or less. And if it is, it will archive all 12 hours. However, if you run over 12 hours, it will not archive any of it. So if you go 12 hours and 1 minute, it doesn't save any of it for anybody to watch. But if you go 11 hours and 59 seconds, it will. So it didn't save any of it. And I have 12 hours of recorded screen with no sound at all. And I'm not going to sit here and record a 12-hour voiceover. So we'll just have to chalk it up to lesson learned and not do it, then do it right the next time by splitting a 24-hour live into 2 12-hour live streams back to back. Yeah, I felt kind of bad. I really did when I realized that it wasn't going to save any of it. And I was like, oh, because I went back and reread somewhere else. And I actually found out I went to Reddit and somebody else had asked the same question about how long it took for their somebody had asked the same question. I live streamed for 24 hours. How come it's not showing up? And somebody said your live stream has to be 12 hours or less and it will archive the whole thing. If it goes more than 12 hours, then it won't archive any of it. It's always be recording in another app and upload it into 2 different 12-hour segments. Yep. Lesson learned. Yeah, I enjoyed it anyway. I did. I enjoyed doing it. Like I said, I mean, honestly, only about the first 10 hours of it were really busy. And then from like 11 o'clock at night until 7 or 8 in the next morning, it was just kind of just me diamond painting, not talking at all. Every now and then somebody would pop in and say something, and I would have something to respond to. But for the most part, it was just me diamond painting silently here for that long. And I don't know anybody would want to go back and rewatch all of that. But I will definitely do another 24-hour live one day. That was it was actually a lot of fun. It was funny afterwards because T-Mall actually stayed up all night. And so before the live ended, I had decided I'm going to stay up until bedtime tonight before I go to bed, because if not, I will be up all night. Like I will get up at like midnight and be awake until, I have to go to work. And so, oh, good Lord, Nana. And so, you just got weird internet, I think. But, she was constantly like back and forth. We just, how are you holding up? How are you making out? I'm about to crash. It was like we were having a contest to see who could like stay up. Welcome back, Ashley. Yeah, I think I was gonna do that. Actually, Nana, that was my original plan. Was I was gonna do it on StreamYard, and then have guests, and I totally blew it. Yeah, you were in and out all night too. At the last minute, it kind of just slipped my mind to do it in StreamYard, and I just went live like I normally do. It was a good trial run, though. It was worth doing as a trial run to see how to go for the next time, and what not to do and what to do next time. So I learned a lot. Oh, my neighbors just shut a door really hard. Yeah, at 3:30 I was playing my slot game. Did I get watch? Yeah, I got 378 watch hours from it. Which that was the whole point of doing it, was to get the watch hours. So I mean, it worked out. I mean, if you're trying to build watch hours, that's definitely the way to do it. Long live streams. I'm still not sold on the whole Twitch thing. Seems like it takes an awful lot to get yourself like monetized on Twitch. Okay, Deborah, have a good night. And yeah, I get that, Dreamer. I totally get it. Now, I watch Twitch for like gaming streams and stuff. Like, those are fun and interesting. But in diamond painting, I just don't see that Twitch is the way to go, because unless you're Mrs. Coffee or Rachel Ray, you really don't have the following to make Twitch worthwhile. That's the point with it. It's just Twitch's regulations for getting yourself to where you can make any kind of money on Twitch is just so much tougher than YouTube is. I mean, YouTube is tough. Like, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, but that's actually relatively easy to get compared to what your qualifications are on Twitch to be able to make any money. And without a following like Mrs. Coffee or Rachel Ray coming into it, you're going to take forever to build up that kind of following, if you ever do. No, I did not, Nana. I did not hear about her son. I knew the deal was with him, but I didn't hear about him. Oh man, that's sorry to hear. Oh, that hurts. Did it just happen today? On Mother's Day, even. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Man. Oops. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh, it's Friday morning. Okay. I was going to say that would royally suck if it happened on Mother's Day. Oh, I mean, even a couple of days before is bad enough. Yeah, it's true. Nothing's worse than that. I couldn't imagine getting that call. I mean, my kids are all grown, and I couldn't imagine getting that call. But at the same time, I look at my own age and I look at the fact that, I mean, yeah, I probably got another good 30 years ahead of me, maybe. I hope. God willing. But that's just, I dread the day that my kids have to get that call. I mean, I know I won't be here and it won't mean a damn thing to me at that point. But just the fact that I know going into it that it's going to happen one day, it just drives me nuts thinking about it. I've actually lost sleep at night in the past 6 months or so. An acquaintance that I knew from the local bar, healthy, no problems, none whatsoever, passed away in his sleep unexpectedly one night. And he was only 6 years older than me. And it really made me start thinking about my own mortality and how much time I have left. And it royally scared the poopies out of me. And to this day, it still does. It's like I have trouble sometimes going to sleep at night because the thought hits me, what if I die in my sleep tonight? So yeah, that plays on my mind a lot. Yeah, for some it is, Dreamer. It really is. I mean, it's hard to think of it that way at times, but when they're already suffering, it really is. You know, Nana, that's the way I want to do it too. I mean, that is how I want it to be. But I don't want to be living alone in this apartment with Hank and Aria here and have it happen alone like that. As much as it sucks to want to include somebody else in it and have to find me that way the next morning or whatever, I would much rather not be alone and lay there for a week before the neighbors start complaining about a smell, and then come to find out my cats had started eating my face because they didn't have any food left anymore. That's the worst thing I can think of. So I'm just kind of hoping that I'm not alone in the house when it happens. That's my biggest fear, is that I'm alone when it happens in the house and they don't find me for a while, and it's gonna that bugs me. So yeah, there's been quite a few nights in the past. That's kind of why I stay up so late at night. I don't really ever tell nobody that too much, but that's kind of why I'm up so late most nights, is because I actually cannot get to sleep because I'm worried about that. I've talked to Gail a few times on Zoom. I I, I really feel for her because I know what she was going through. Well, Dreamer, for me, it's just the thought of not being around anymore, not doing the things I enjoy anymore, not living. You know, right now I don't want to not be here. You know what I'm saying? It's it does scare me. It scares me for what my kids are going to go through and what they'll have to deal with. Yeah, well, I know I am, Nana. I know I'm young and healthy. Well, I'll be 50 in a couple of months and healthy, but I already know I'm past the halfway point of life. And I know from here on out isn't as many years left that I've already lived. And even though 30 years sounds like a long time, and it seems like a long time, I look back on the past 30 years. Here I am in 2023. 30 years ago was what, 1993? No, 2003. And 2003 does not seem like it was that long ago. Even though it actually kind of was, and I've done a lot since 2003, but how much longer am I going to be able to keep going at the rate and pace of things that I'm doing now? I know at 80, I'm not going to be able to go hiking in the Appalachians. Um, maybe I can. I mean, the oldest person alive to do it is, Nimble Will Nomad, who just did it in 2020 at, 2021 at 83. He hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. But that's an odd occurrence. Yeah, I know what happened in your RV, Nana, and that's exactly what I don't want to happen to me. I mean, granted, I'm not going to overdose because I don't do any drugs, but I get it, Dreamer. I'm being a Christian myself. I understand that completely. And I know that when I go, I'll be in a better place. But for the time being, I don't want to be there yet. I want to be here. I want to be here as long as I can be. And when I go, I want it to be kind of on my terms. Like I said, I don't want to be alone in the house and have somebody have to, you know, a week down the road, the neighbors call about a strange smell and they check my apartment and they find that my cats have partially eaten my face because they ran out of food. I just don't want to. I don't want my kids to have to deal with that and know that that happened to their dad. I mean that's hurts me to think of it right now. All right, see you later, Bev T. Thanks for stopping in. So sorry the way the chat ended up going there on that one, but I look at YouTube as not only my way of sharing what I do here, but I also kind of think of it as almost like a live journal type thing. Um, my thoughts, my fears, my whatever, it all comes out on here because it's kind of almost my therapy in a way. um, Pink Poodle. So, Dave, I'm about to send you a couple of pics. I want you to look and tell me if you see anything. It's a tree that fell on Barksdale Air Force Base. All right. I shall take a look and see. Why did my messenger not open? Let me look on my phone then. See if I see anything. Oh, wow. That one on the right is just crazy. Wow. I mean, wow. I'm breaking up, Sherry. All right. What do y'all see in that picture? That's nuts. That's crazy. Actually, Ashley, I'm thinking more along the lines of Civil War era before World War II, with the long coat like that, and it looks like a pair of boots. Looks like either 1700s or 1800s. And it may not even be a military uniform. It could be an old farmer, plantation owner. That's crazy looking. Well, that's possible. But I guess I don't know. I guess it could look like, like you've seen some of the old like pirate uniform or pirate outfits and stuff that had like the longer waistcoat thing that came down to just above the knees, and then you had the pants that went inside of the old boots. At least that's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's strange. It could be a World War One uniform too, because that was around that time, 1930s. No, World War One was in the early 1900s, earlier than 1930s. Yes, the B-52. Yep, I've been by there a few times. That's crazy. All right, Dreamer, have a good night. Just think, all that years that dead guy been living in that tree, and then the tree gets knocked down. He's like, "Now where am I going to live? Now I got to walk somewhere and find a home." Oh, Nana, it's this picture here. It's a tree that fell on Barksdale Air Force Base near where she lives. Take a look and see what you see in it. That's crazy. Oh, damn, I am way late getting off of here, too. Woo! I didn't realize it was that late. Of course, Hank hasn't had good food in the past couple nights, so he's not expecting it tonight, so he's not waking up. Yeah, it's where Ashley said, "I sent you a couple of pics, Dave. Tell me what you see in them." And I looked at them, but yeah, that is nuts. I mean, could it just be coincidence that the leaves fell off the right way and are touching the ground the right way? It looks like that. Yeah, but I'm trying to look and see where those leaves would be coming from, and I do not see it. All right, y'all. It's 20 after 11. I didn't realize it was this late. So I need to get off of here, get a couple things done because I got some rocks that need to come out of the barrel tonight before I go to bed still. And got to at least give the cats some treats because I don't have any good food to give them. So I got to get that to them. So I will see you all again next weekend. And I'm going to try to record something for my Patreon this week. Try to get the time to do that. I don't know what I'm going to record yet. Maybe a day at work with me. I don't know. But I'll be back on next weekend. Same place, same time. Thank you all for showing up, coming in, visiting for a little bit, listening to me rant about all kinds of weird things tonight. And I will see y'all again next Sunday night. Until then, rock on, roll tide.